Question 1. Consider a scenario where a development team is eager to deploy a new feature and proposes conducting performance testing directly within the live production environment during off-peak hours to expedite the release cycle. As the SmartCloud Application Performance Management Solutions Specialist, what is the most appropriate course of action to ensure both timely deployment and robust application performance without compromising production stability or data integrity? Option A. Suggest performance testing in a development environment that is not configured to match production specifications, as it is faster to set up. Option B. Advocate for the creation of a dedicated, isolated performance testing environment that closely replicates the production setup, even if it requires additional time and resources to conduct thorough testing before deployment. Option C. Advise the development team to skip comprehensive performance testing for this feature, given the urgency of the release, and focus solely on functional testing. Option D. Approve the development team's proposal to test in production during off-peak hours, emphasizing strict monitoring to minimize potential impact. Correct answer is B. Advocate for the creation of a dedicated, isolated performance testing environment that closely replicates the production setup, even if it requires additional time and resources, to conduct thorough testing before deployment. Explanation. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT performance management, balancing the immediate needs of development teams with the long-term stability and resource constraints of the production environment. The core of the challenge lies in ensuring that performance testing, a critical phase for application quality and user experience, does not negatively impact live services or incur unexpected costs. Careful judgment is required to align the performance testing strategy with business objectives and regulatory compliance, particularly concerning the availability and integrity of production data. The correct approach prioritizes a controlled, isolated environment for performance testing that accurately mirrors production without risking live data or service disruption. This aligns with best professional practices by ensuring that performance issues are identified and resolved before deployment, thereby safeguarding user experience and business continuity. From a regulatory perspective, this approach supports compliance with service-level agreements, SLAs, and data protection regulations by preventing unauthorized access or modification of production data and maintaining service availability. An incorrect approach that involves testing directly in the production environment poses significant regulatory and ethical risks. This could lead to data corruption or loss, violating data integrity principles and potentially breaching data protection laws. It also risks service degradation or outage, which would violate SLAs and damage customer trust, representing a failure in professional duty to maintain service reliability. Another incorrect approach, testing in an environment that does not accurately reflect production, leads to unreliable performance metrics. This can result in the deployment of applications with unforeseen performance bottlenecks, impacting user satisfaction and potentially leading to financial losses or reputational damage, which is a failure to exercise due diligence. A third incorrect approach, neglecting performance testing altogether due to perceived time constraints, is a direct abdication of responsibility for application quality and user experience, risking significant post-deployment issues and potential regulatory noncompliance related to service standards. Professionals should employ a decision-making framework that begins with clearly defining the objectives of performance testing in relation to business goals and regulatory requirements. This involves assessing the risks associated with different testing environments and methodologies. The next step is to design a testing strategy that mitigates these risks, often involving the creation of a dedicated, production-like test environment. Communication and collaboration with all stakeholders, including development, operations, and business units, are crucial to ensure buy-in and alignment. Finally, continuous monitoring and evaluation of the testing process and its outcomes are necessary to adapt and improve future performance management efforts. Question 2. The investigation demonstrates that a key business stakeholder has expressed confusion regarding the value proposition of the SmartCloud application performance management solution, stating that the technical reports are too complex to interpret in terms of business impact. Which approach to presenting the APM findings would best address this stakeholder's concerns and align with the fundamental principles of applying APM solutions? Option A. Providing a detailed breakdown of server resource utilization and network latency figures, assuming the stakeholder will infer the business implications. Option B. focusing on the technical architecture diagrams and code-level performance bottlenecks, as these are the root causes of any observed issues. Option C. Delivering a presentation filled with technical jargon and acronyms commonly used by the IT operations team to ensure accuracy and completeness. Option D. Presenting a summary of performance metrics that directly correlates application response times and error rates with documented impacts on customer conversion rates and revenue generation. Correct answer is D. Presenting a summary of performance metrics that directly correlates application response times and error rates with documented impacts on customer conversion rates and revenue generation. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario is professionally challenging because it requires balancing the technical imperative of performance monitoring with the business need for clear, actionable insights that drive strategic decisions. Stakeholders, particularly those in business leadership, may not possess deep technical expertise, necessitating communication that translates complex performance data into understandable business impacts and opportunities. The challenge lies in ensuring that the application performance management (APM) solutions findings are not just technically accurate, but also relevant and persuasive to a diverse audience with varying priorities and levels of understanding. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach represents best professional practice because it prioritizes translating technical APM findings into business-relevant outcomes. By focusing on how performance issues impact user experience, revenue, and operational efficiency, this approach directly addresses the concerns of business stakeholders. This aligns with the fundamental purpose of APM solutions as outlined in the C2010-658 curriculum, which emphasizes using performance data to improve application value and achieve business objectives. This stakeholder-centric communication ensures buy-in, facilitates informed decision-making, and demonstrates the tangible return on investment for APM initiatives, thereby fulfilling the professional obligation to deliver value. Incorrect approaches analysis. One incorrect approach fails by presenting raw, uninterpreted performance metrics without connecting them to business impact. This is professionally unacceptable because it ignores the primary need of business stakeholders to understand so what. And what does this mean for us? It risks alienating stakeholders, leading to disengagement and a failure to act on critical performance insights, which contravenes the goal of applying APM solutions effectively. Another incorrect approach is to focus solely on technical remediation steps without explaining the business justification or potential impact of those steps. This overlooks the fact that business stakeholders are primarily concerned with outcomes, not just the technical minutiae of fixes. It can lead to misallocation of resources or prioritization of fixes that do not align with overarching business goals, a failure to demonstrate the business value of APM, and potentially a breach of professional duty to ensure technology investments serve strategic objectives. A further incorrect approach involves making assumptions about stakeholder understanding of technical jargon. This is professionally unsound as it creates communication barriers and can lead to misunderstandings or misinterpretations of critical performance data. Effective professional practice demands clear, accessible communication tailored to the audience, ensuring that all stakeholders can grasp the implications of APM findings and contribute meaningfully to performance improvement efforts. Professional reasoning. Professionals should adopt a stakeholder-centric approach when presenting APM findings. This involves first understanding the specific business objectives and concerns of each stakeholder group. Then, translate technical data into clear, concise business language, focusing on impact e.g., lost revenue, decreased customer satisfaction, increased operational costs, and actionable recommendations. The decision-making process should involve a continuous feedback loop with stakeholders to ensure the APM insights are relevant, understood, and acted upon, thereby maximizing the value derived from the APM solution. Question 3. Upon reviewing the SmartCloud Application Performance Management (APM) console, a significant degradation in the response time of a critical business application is observed. The application team reports a recent deployment of a new feature. Which of the following actions best aligns with the principles of effective incident management and the application of APM solutions in a regulated environment? Option A. Escalate the issue directly to the SmartCloud APM vendor for immediate resolution without performing initial internal diagnostics. Option B. Immediately roll back the recent feature deployment to restore previous performance levels. Option C. Utilize the SmartCloud APM tool to analyze performance metrics, identify the root cause of the degradation, and then collaboratively develop and implement a targeted remediation plan with stakeholders. Option D. Implement a quick fix suggested by a senior developer without further validation or consultation with other teams. The correct answer is B. Immediately roll back the recent feature deployment to restore previous performance levels. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT service management, where a critical application performance issue impacts business operations. The challenge lies in balancing the immediate need for resolution with the established processes for incident management and change control, especially when dealing with a complex, integrated solution like SmartCloud Application Performance Management (APM). Stakeholder expectations for rapid resolution can conflict with the need for thorough analysis and controlled remediation, potentially leading to rushed decisions with unintended consequences. The pressure to restore service quickly can tempt individuals to bypass standard procedures, which carries significant risks. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach emphasizes a structured, data-driven incident resolution process aligned with ITIL principles, which are foundational to effective APM solution application. This involves leveraging the SmartCloud APM tool to gather diagnostic data, correlating this data with known issues or recent changes, and then collaboratively developing a remediation plan with relevant stakeholders. This approach represents best professional practice because it ensures that actions taken are informed, minimize further disruption, and are auditable. It adheres to the implicit regulatory and operational guidelines of maintaining system stability and data integrity, which are critical for business continuity and compliance. By following a defined process, the team can effectively identify the root cause, implement a targeted fix, and prevent recurrence, thereby upholding service-level agreement and stakeholder trust. Incorrect approaches analysis. One incorrect approach involves immediately reverting the application to a previous state without a thorough investigation. This is professionally unacceptable because it fails to identify the root cause of the performance degradation. It risks masking underlying issues that could resurface or cause different problems, potentially violating operational stability mandates and leading to repeated incidents. This reactive measure bypasses the diagnostic capabilities of the APM solution, which is designed to provide insights for informed decision-making. Another incorrect approach is to implement a quick fix suggested by a single team member without validation or stakeholder consensus. This is professionally unsound, as it relies on potentially incomplete information and bypasses the collaborative nature of incident management. It increases the risk of introducing new errors or failing to address the actual problem, which could lead to further service degradation and breach of service-level agreements. This approach disregards the importance of collective expertise and the structured change management process, which are crucial for maintaining system integrity and compliance. A third incorrect approach is to escalate the issue to the vendor without first exhausting internal diagnostic capabilities using the SmartCloud APM tool. While vendor support is important, prematurely escalating without performing initial troubleshooting using the deployed tools is inefficient and can delay resolution. It suggests a lack of confidence in the APM solution's ability to diagnose internal issues and can lead to unnecessary costs and extended downtime, failing to meet the professional obligation to utilize available resources effectively. Professional reasoning. Professionals facing such a scenario should employ a structured decision-making process. First, they must acknowledge the urgency but prioritize adherence to established incident management frameworks, e.g. ITIL. Second, they should leverage the SmartCloud APM tool to its fullest extent for data collection and analysis, focusing on identifying the root cause. Third, they must engage relevant stakeholders, including application owners, infrastructure teams, and potentially business representatives, to communicate findings and collaboratively develop a remediation plan. Fourth, any proposed solution must be assessed for its impact, and if necessary, go through a formal change control process. Finally, post-incident review should be conducted to capture lessons learned and improve future incident response. This systematic approach ensures that decisions are data-driven, risk-aware, and aligned with both operational best practices and implicit regulatory requirements for system stability and business continuity. Question 4. Compliance review shows that a key e-commerce application is experiencing intermittent performance issues, leading to customer complaints and abandoned transactions. The IT team is considering implementing a new application performance management (APM) solution to diagnose the problem, which approach best balances the need for rapid diagnosis with stakeholder expectations and regulatory considerations. Option A. Prioritize understanding the business impact of the performance issues and engaging with key business stakeholders to define acceptable performance thresholds and data privacy requirements before selecting and configuring an APM solution. Option B. Initiate a lengthy internal debate among IT teams about the ideal APM architecture, delaying any deployment until a perfect consensus is reached to avoid any potential future disagreements. Option C. Immediately deploy the most feature-rich APM tool available to gather the most comprehensive data possible, assuming that more data will automatically lead to a faster resolution. Option D. Focus exclusively on technical metrics and server-side performance indicators, as these are the primary drivers of application speed, and address business concerns and data privacy only after the technical root cause is identified. The correct answer is A. Prioritize understanding the business impact of the performance issues and engaging with key business stakeholders to define acceptable performance thresholds and data privacy requirements before selecting and configuring an APM solution. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT performance management, where a critical business application's performance degradation impacts customer satisfaction and revenue. The challenge lies in balancing the immediate need for resolution with the long-term implications of the chosen solution, particularly concerning data privacy and regulatory compliance. The stakeholder perspective is crucial because different groups, e.g., business users, IT operations, legal/compliance, have varying priorities and concerns. Misinterpreting or overlooking these perspectives can lead to suboptimal solutions that create new risks or fail to address the root cause effectively. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach prioritizes understanding the business impact and the specific needs of all stakeholders before proposing a technical solution. This aligns with the principles of responsible data handling and application performance management, which emphasize that technical solutions must serve business objectives while adhering to regulatory frameworks. By engaging with stakeholders, the team can identify the scope of the performance issue, its business criticality, and any potential data privacy concerns that might influence the choice of monitoring tools or data collection methods. This proactive engagement ensures that the proposed solution is not only technically sound, but also compliant with relevant regulations and meets the diverse needs of the organization. This approach fosters trust and collaboration, leading to a more effective and sustainable resolution. Incorrect approaches analysis. One incorrect approach involves immediately deploying a comprehensive, but potentially overly intrusive, monitoring solution without consulting stakeholders. This could lead to a violation of data privacy regulations if sensitive customer data is collected or stored without proper consent or anonymization. It also fails to address the specific needs of business users, who might be more concerned with user experience than granular technical metrics. Another incorrect approach is to focus solely on the technical aspects of performance without considering the business impact or stakeholder concerns. This might result in a technically efficient solution that doesn't actually solve the core problem from a business perspective, leading to continued dissatisfaction and potential revenue loss. It also risks overlooking regulatory requirements related to service-level agreements or data retention. A third incorrect approach is to delay action due to conflicting stakeholder demands, leading to prolonged performance issues. While stakeholder alignment is important, prolonged inaction can itself have significant business and reputational consequences, and may even indirectly lead to regulatory scrutiny if service levels are not maintained. Professional reasoning. Professionals should adopt a structured approach to stakeholder engagement. This involves identifying all relevant stakeholders, understanding their objectives and concerns, and facilitating open communication. When addressing performance issues, the decision-making process should begin with a thorough impact assessment, followed by a collaborative definition of requirements that considers technical feasibility, business needs, and regulatory compliance. The chosen solution should be evaluated against these criteria, with a clear understanding of its implications for data privacy, security, and overall business objectives. This iterative process ensures that solutions are robust, compliant, and aligned with organizational goals. Question 5. Examination of the data shows a significant increase in application response times for a core financial transaction processing system, impacting multiple departments. While the technical team has identified potential network latency as a contributing factor, the business operations team is concerned about potential delays in regulatory reporting, and the customer service department is receiving an uptick in user complaints regarding system sluggishness. Which approach best addresses this situation from a stakeholder perspective? Option A. Focus solely on resolving the customer service complaints by optimizing the user interface, as this is the most visible impact to external users. Option B. Immediately implement network configuration changes to reduce latency, as this is the primary technical indicator, and inform stakeholders of the fix once deployed. Option C. Conduct a thorough root cause analysis of the application performance degradation, correlating technical metrics with business impact on regulatory reporting and user experience, and then present a prioritized remediation plan to all affected stakeholders for collaborative decision-making. Option D. Escalate the issue to senior management with a request for additional resources to investigate, without providing a preliminary assessment of the impact or potential solutions. The correct answer is B. Immediately implement network configuration changes to reduce latency, as this is the primary technical indicator, and inform stakeholders of the fix once deployed. Explanation. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT performance management, balancing the immediate needs of different stakeholders with the long-term strategic goals of the organization, all within the context of regulatory compliance. The challenge lies in interpreting performance data not just as technical metrics, but as indicators of business impact and potential compliance risks. Professionals must exercise careful judgment to prioritize actions that address critical issues, while also considering the broader implications for service delivery, customer satisfaction, and adherence to any relevant service level agreements, SLAs, or regulatory mandates. The correct approach represents best professional practice because it prioritizes a holistic view of performance, integrating technical data with business context and stakeholder expectations. By focusing on identifying the root cause of performance degradation and its impact on critical business functions, it ensures that remediation efforts are targeted and effective. This aligns with the principles of responsible IT management, which emphasizes delivering reliable and performant services that meet business objectives and regulatory requirements. Proactive communication with stakeholders about findings and proposed solutions fosters transparency and collaboration, which are essential for successful IT operations and for maintaining trust. An incorrect approach that focuses solely on immediate technical fixes without understanding the business impact fails to address the underlying issues and may lead to recurring problems. This can result in unmet SLAs, customer dissatisfaction, and potential regulatory noncompliance if the performance degradation affects regulated processes or data handling. Another incorrect approach that prioritizes the needs of a single, vocal stakeholder without considering the broader impact on other business units or the overall system can lead to suboptimal resource allocation and may exacerbate performance issues elsewhere. This demonstrates a lack of strategic thinking and can create interdepartmental friction. A third incorrect approach that ignores the performance data entirely or delays action due to resource constraints, even when critical issues are identified, represents a significant professional failure. This can lead to severe business disruptions, financial losses, and potential breaches of regulatory obligations, such as those related to data integrity or service availability. Professionals should employ a decision-making framework that begins with understanding the business context of the performance data. This involves identifying which applications and services are most critical to the organization's operations and regulatory compliance. Next, they should analyze the performance data to pinpoint the root causes of any degradation. This analysis should then be used to assess the impact on business operations and stakeholders. Finally, based on this comprehensive understanding, professionals should prioritize remediation efforts, communicate findings and propose solutions transparently to all relevant stakeholders, and ensure that actions taken align with both business objectives and regulatory requirements. Question 6. Performance analysis shows a significant increase in transaction response times for a critical customer-facing application, impacting user satisfaction and potentially revenue. As the APM solution specialist, you need to communicate these findings to different stakeholder groups. Which approach best facilitates informed decision-making and drives effective remediation efforts? Option A. Delay reporting the findings until a complete root cause analysis is performed and all potential solutions have been fully evaluated, even if this takes several days. Option B. Present a detailed technical report to all stakeholders, including raw performance metrics, trace data, and system logs, explaining the intricate technical causes of the slowdown. Option C. Inform only the IT operations team about the performance degradation, assuming they are solely responsible for addressing technical issues without involving other departments. Option D. Focus the communication on the business impact, such as lost revenue projections and customer churn risks, and provide clear, prioritized recommendations for remediation, tailored to the specific concerns of each stakeholder group, e.g., IT operations, business managers, executive leadership. The correct answer is B. Present a detailed technical report to all stakeholders, including raw performance metrics, trace data, and system logs, explaining the intricate technical causes of the slowdown. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires balancing the technical insights gained from APM tools with the diverse needs and understanding levels of various stakeholders. The challenge lies in translating complex performance data into actionable information that resonates with each stakeholder group, ensuring informed decision-making without overwhelming them with technical jargon or irrelevant details. Careful judgment is required to tailor communication and recommendations appropriately. The correct approach represents best professional practice because it prioritizes clear, concise, and relevant communication tailored to each stakeholder's perspective and responsibilities. By focusing on business impact and actionable insights, it ensures that the APM data directly supports strategic objectives and operational improvements. This aligns with the principles of effective IT governance and service management, where technology solutions are leveraged to achieve business outcomes. Specifically, within the context of applying APM solutions, this approach ensures that the value of the investment is clearly demonstrated and understood by all parties, fostering continued support and resource allocation. An incorrect approach that focuses solely on raw technical metrics without translating them into business impact fails to meet the needs of non-technical stakeholders, potentially leading to misinterpretation or disengagement. This can result in missed opportunities for improvement or a lack of understanding regarding the importance of APM. Ethically, it can be seen as a failure to communicate effectively and responsibly, not providing the necessary context for informed decisions. Another incorrect approach that prioritizes a single stakeholder's perspective over others can lead to biased decision-making and suboptimal outcomes for the overall application performance in business. This can create internal friction and undermine the collaborative nature of performance management. It also fails to acknowledge the interconnectedness of different business functions and their reliance on application performance. A third incorrect approach that delays reporting or analysis until all possible technical nuances are explored can lead to missed windows of opportunity for remediation. This can result in prolonged periods of degraded performance, impacting user experience and business operations. Professionally, it demonstrates a lack of urgency and an inability to prioritize timely communication of critical information. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve 1. Identifying all relevant stakeholders and understanding their roles, responsibilities, and information needs. 2. Analyzing the APM data to identify key performance indicators, KPI, and potential issues. 3. Translating technical findings into business-relevant terms, focusing on impact, root cause, and recommended actions. 4. Tailoring the communication strategy and content for each stakeholder group, using appropriate language and level of detail. 5. Facilitating discussions and providing support to ensure stakeholders understand the implications of the performance analysis and can take appropriate action. 6. Establishing a feedback loop to continuously refine the APM reporting and communication process. Question 7. The efficiency study reveals that the SmartCloud application performance management APM solution is generating a large volume of alerts, but the development and operations teams report difficulty in translating these alerts into actionable steps for improving application performance or resolving incidents. Which approach best addresses this stakeholder perspective challenge? Option A. Implement a new dashboard that aggregates all raw alert data from the APM solution, assuming the teams can independently derive actionable insights from the comprehensive dataset. Option B. Conduct workshops with development and operations teams to identify critical performance indicators, KPI and tune, APM, alert thresholds, and reporting to align with their specific troubleshooting and optimization workflows. Option C. Increase the frequency of automated APM reports sent to all stakeholders, regardless of their direct involvement in application performance management. Option D. Configure the APM solution to capture the maximum number of available performance metrics to ensure comprehensive data collection for future analysis. Correct answer is D. Configure the APM solution to capture the maximum number of available performance metrics to ensure comprehensive data collection for future analysis. Explanation: the efficiency study reveals that the current implementation of SmartCloud application performance management, APM solutions, is not fully meeting the needs of key stakeholders, particularly the development and operations teams. This scenario is professionally challenging because it requires balancing the technical capabilities of the APM solution with the diverse operational and strategic objectives of different business units. Stakeholder alignment is crucial for successful APM adoption and value realization. The correct approach involves actively engaging with both development and operations teams to understand their specific pain points, desired outcomes, and how APM data can directly inform their workflows and decision-making processes. This collaborative method ensures that the APM solution is configured and utilized in a way that provides actionable insights, leading to improved application performance, faster issue resolution, and enhanced user experience. This aligns with the fundamental principles of effective IT service management and the practical application of performance monitoring tools, which are implicitly supported by the need for demonstrable business value and operational efficiency, as expected in a professional IT environment. An incorrect approach would be to solely focus on the technical metrics and alerts generated by the APM tool without considering the context or needs of the end users of that data. This might involve prioritizing the collection of every possible metric without a clear understanding of which metrics are relevant to development or operations for troubleshooting or optimization. This failure to translate technical data into actionable business insights represents a significant gap in professional practice, as it neglects the core purpose of APM, to improve application performance and user satisfaction. Another incorrect approach would be to implement the APM solution based on a top-down directive without sufficient input from the teams who will be directly using it. This can lead to a solution that is technically sound but operationally irrelevant or difficult to integrate into existing workflows. Such an approach risks alienating key personnel, reducing adoption rates, and ultimately failing to deliver the expected return on investment. This demonstrates a lack of understanding of change management principles and the importance of user buy-in in technology deployments. Professionals should adopt a structured approach to stakeholder engagement when implementing or optimizing APM solutions. This involves identifying all relevant stakeholders, understanding their unique requirements and expectations, and establishing clear communication channels. The decision-making process should prioritize solutions that demonstrably address stakeholder needs, facilitate collaboration, and contribute to measurable improvements in application performance and business outcomes. This iterative process of feedback and refinement ensures that the APM solution remains aligned with evolving business objectives and technical realities. Question 8. Analysis of a situation where a critical business application is experiencing intermittent performance degradation, triggering alerts within the SmartCloud application performance management solution. The operations team is under pressure to restore optimal performance immediately. Which of the following approaches best aligns with the principles of effective application performance management and professional best practices in this scenario? Option A. Immediately roll back the most recent application deployment, assuming it is the cause of the performance issues, without further investigation. Option B. Initiate a deep dive analysis using the SmartCloud APM tool to identify the specific transaction, code path, or external dependency causing the performance bottleneck, and then implement a targeted fix. Option C. Increase the allocated CPU and memory resources for the application servers without analyzing the application's resource consumption patterns. Option D. Deactivate the performance alerts in SmartCloud APM to reduce noise and focus on other operational tasks, assuming the degradation is temporary. The correct answer is B. Initiate a deep dive analysis using the SmartCloud APM tool to identify the specific transaction, code path, or external dependency causing the performance bottleneck, and then implement a targeted fix. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT performance management, balancing the immediate need for system stability with the long-term strategic goal of optimizing application performance. The pressure to restore service quickly can lead to reactive, short-sighted solutions that may mask underlying issues or introduce new ones. Professionals must exercise careful judgment to avoid compromising future performance or violating service-level agreements, SLAs, due to hasty decisions. The challenge lies in making a decision that is both operationally sound in the short term and strategically beneficial in the long term, all while adhering to the principles of effective application performance management. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves a systematic investigation using the SmartCloud Application Performance Management (APM) solution to identify the root cause of the performance degradation. This aligns with best professional practice by leveraging the diagnostic capabilities of the APM tool to understand the behavior of the application and its dependencies. By analyzing metrics such as transaction response times, resource utilization, CPU, memory, network, and error rates, the team can pinpoint the specific component or interaction causing the issue. This data-driven approach ensures that any remediation efforts are targeted and effective, preventing recurrence and improving overall system health. This adheres to the fundamental principles of APM, which emphasize proactive monitoring, root cause analysis, and performance optimization. Incorrect approach is analysis. One incorrect approach is to immediately revert to a previous stable version of the application without thorough investigation. This is professionally unacceptable because it bypasses the diagnostic capabilities of the APM solution, failing to identify the root cause of the problem. This reactive measure might temporarily resolve the issue, but leaves the underlying vulnerability unaddressed, increasing the risk of future, potentially more severe, performance degradations. It also fails to leverage the investment in APM tools for their intended purpose of deep analysis and proactive problem solving. Another incorrect approach is to solely focus on increasing server resources, e.g., CPU, RAM, without understanding the application's behavior. Resource constraints can cause performance issues. Blindly adding resources is often a costly and ineffective solution if the bottleneck lies within the application code, database queries, or external service dependencies. This approach ignores the detailed insights provided by APM, such as identifying inefficient code paths or slow database operations, and thus fails to address the true root cause. It represents a failure to apply the principles of performance tuning, which prioritize understanding and optimizing application logic before resorting to hardware scaling. A third incorrect approach is to ignore the performance alerts from the SmartCloud APM solution, assuming they are false positives or minor anomalies. This is a critical professional and ethical failure. Ignoring alerts means neglecting the system's health indicators, which can lead to undetected performance degradation that eventually impacts users and business operations. It demonstrates a lack of diligence in monitoring and a disregard for the proactive capabilities of the APM solution, potentially violating service-level agreements and eroding customer trust. Professional reasoning. Professionals should employ a structured decision-making framework when faced with performance issues. This framework typically involves 1. Detection. Recognizing performance degradation through monitoring tools like SmartCloud APM. 2. Diagnosis. Utilizing the APM solution's diagnostic capabilities to gather data and identify the root cause. This involves analyzing metrics, traces, and logs. 3. Remediation. Developing and implementing targeted solutions based on the diagnosis. This might involve code fixes, configuration changes, or infrastructure adjustments. 4. Validation. Verifying that the implemented solution has resolved the issue and has not introduced new problems. 5. Prevention. documenting the issue and its resolution, and updating monitoring or alerting thresholds to prevent recurrence. This systematic approach ensures that decisions are data-driven, efficient, and contribute to the long-term stability and performance of the application. Question 9. Strategic planning requires a clear understanding of how technology investments contribute to business objectives. When implementing a smart cloud application performance management (APM) solution, what is the most effective approach to ensure its value is maximized and aligned with organizational goals? Option A. Focus data collection on metrics directly linked to critical business transactions and user experience indicators, informed by defined business objectives. Option B. Concentrate on collecting detailed technical performance metrics that indicate system health, regardless of their direct impact on user experience or business outcomes. Option C. Implement the APM solution with default settings and conduct periodic ad hoc reviews of performance data as needed. Option D. Prioritize the collection of all available performance metrics to ensure comprehensive data coverage for future analysis. The correct answer is D. Prioritize the collection of all available performance metrics to ensure comprehensive data coverage for future analysis. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT performance management, balancing the immediate need for detailed performance data with the long-term strategic goal of optimizing resource utilization and cost. The pressure to demonstrate immediate value from a new APM solution can lead to a focus on granular, potentially overwhelming data collection. However, without a clear strategic alignment, this can result in data overload, increased operational overhead, and a failure to derive actionable insights that support business objectives. The professional challenge lies in navigating these competing demands and ensuring the APM implementation serves a defined purpose beyond mere data acquisition. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach emphasizes aligning APM data collection with specific business objectives and performance indicators, KPI. This aligns with the fundamental principles of effective IT service management and strategic planning, which dictate that technology investments should directly support business goals. In the context of applying APM solutions, this means identifying what aspects of application performance are critical to user experience, business transaction success, and overall service delivery. By focusing on these critical areas, the APM solution can provide targeted insights that enable proactive problem-solving, informed capacity planning, and ultimately, improved business outcomes. This approach ensures that the APM investment is justified by its contribution to business value, rather than simply by the volume of data it collects. It promotes a data-driven decision-making process that is both efficient and effective. Incorrect approach is analysis. One incorrect approach involves prioritizing the collection of every possible performance metric without a clear understanding of their relevance to business objectives. This leads to an overwhelming volume of data that is difficult to analyze, interpret, and act upon. It represents a failure to apply a strategic decision-making framework, resulting in wasted resources and a lack of actionable insights. Ethically, it can be seen as a misallocation of organizational resources. Another incorrect approach is to solely focus on technical performance metrics that do not directly correlate with user experience or business impact. While technically interesting, these metrics may not provide the insights needed to address business-critical issues. This approach fails to bridge the gap between IT operations and business strategy, leading to a disconnect in understanding and prioritizing performance improvements. It can lead to a situation where technical performance is optimized, but the end-user experience or business outcomes suffer. A third incorrect approach is to implement the APM solution with a set it and forget it mentality, relying on default configurations without ongoing review or adaptation. This neglects the dynamic nature of applications and business needs. Performance requirements evolve, and an APM strategy must adapt accordingly. Failure to do so renders the solution less effective over time and can lead to missed opportunities for optimization and risk mitigation. This approach demonstrates a lack of strategic foresight and ongoing commitment to leveraging the APM solution for continuous improvement. Professional reasoning. Professionals should employ a structured decision-making framework that begins with clearly defining the business objectives and critical success factors for the application being monitored. This involves engaging with business stakeholders to understand their priorities and how application performance impacts them. Next, identify the key performance indicators, KPI, that directly measure progress towards these objectives. Then, determine which performance metrics, as provided by the APM solution, are necessary to monitor these KPIs. This ensures that data collection is purposeful and aligned with strategic goals. Finally, establish a process for regular review and refinement of the APM configuration and data analysis to ensure continued relevance and effectiveness. Question 10. Process analysis reveals that a critical application is experiencing intermittent performance degradation, impacting user experience during peak hours. While a temporary workaround has been identified that can restore normal performance for a short period, a comprehensive root cause analysis is still in progress. The development team is eager to proceed with planned feature enhancements, and there is pressure to minimize downtime and avoid delaying the release of new functionality. Which of the following approaches best represents a professional and compliant decision-making process in this situation, considering the need for both immediate stability and long-term application health? Option A. Apply a recently developed, but not fully tested, code patch that is believed to address a potential cause of the performance issue to avoid further disruption. Option B. Implement the temporary workaround immediately to restore performance, while simultaneously prioritizing the root cause analysis and developing a permanent fix. Option C. Defer addressing the performance degradation until after the current feature release is complete, assuming the impact is manageable for the short term. Option D. Focus solely on completing the planned feature enhancements, as the current performance issues are considered a lower priority than new business value. The correct answer is B. Implement the temporary workaround immediately to restore performance, while simultaneously prioritizing the root cause analysis and developing a permanent fix. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge in performance management, balancing the need for immediate issue resolution with the long-term strategic goals of application stability and user experience. The pressure to restore service quickly can lead to hasty decisions that might mask underlying problems, leading to recurring incidents and increased technical debt. Professionals must navigate conflicting priorities, stakeholder expectations, and the potential impact of their decisions on system health and business operations. The challenge lies in applying a structured decision-making framework that considers both immediate and future implications, adhering to established best practices and any relevant regulatory or compliance requirements. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves a systematic evaluation of the incident's root cause, its impact, and potential remediation strategies, prioritizing solutions that address the fundamental issue rather than just the symptom. This aligns with best practices in IT service management (ITSM) and application performance management (APM), which emphasize proactive problem management and continuous improvement. By thoroughly analyzing the incident, identifying the root cause, and implementing a robust, long-term fix, the team demonstrates a commitment to system stability and user satisfaction, which are often implicitly or explicitly governed by service-level agreements, SLAs, and customer trust. This approach minimizes the likelihood of recurrence, reduces operational overhead, and contributes to a more reliable and performant application environment, ultimately supporting business objectives. Incorrect approaches analysis. Implementing a quick, temporary workaround without a clear plan for a permanent fix is a failure to adhere to problem management principles. This approach addresses the immediate symptom but neglects the underlying cause, leading to potential recurrence of the issue and a degradation of overall application health. Ethically, this can be seen as a failure to provide a consistently reliable service, potentially violating implicit promises of performance and availability. Ignoring the incident to focus on planned feature development, even if the incident is deemed low priority by some, is a failure to adequately manage operational risks. Feature development is important. Neglecting critical performance issues can lead to significant business disruption, reputational damage, and potential noncompliance with service-level objectives. This demonstrates a lack of due diligence in maintaining the operational integrity of the application. Applying a solution that has not been thoroughly tested or validated, even if it appears to resolve the immediate problem, introduces significant risk. This can lead to unforeseen side effects, further instability, or the introduction of new performance bottlenecks. This approach violates the principle of responsible system management and can have negative consequences for users and the business. Professional reasoning. Professionals should employ a decision-making framework that prioritizes a structured incident response and problem management process. This involves 1. Incident identification and logging, accurately documenting the incident and its initial impact. 2. Incident diagnosis, investigating the root cause using available APM tools and diagnostic techniques. 3. Impact assessment, determining the scope and severity of the incident on users and business operations. 4. Solution identification and evaluation, exploring various remediation options, considering both short-term workarounds and long-term fixes, and assessing their risks and benefits. 5. Solution implementation, deploying the chosen solution, ideally with proper testing and change management. 6. Resolution and closure, verifying the resolution and documenting lessons learned for future prevention. This systematic approach ensures that decisions are data-driven, risk-aware, and aligned with the goal of maintaining a stable and performant application environment. Question 11. Research into the performance degradation of a critical financial transaction application reveals that the SmartCloud Application Performance Management (APM) solution is flagging high response times and transaction errors. However, the specific component or layer causing the issue is not immediately apparent from the APM dashboards. The IT operations team is under pressure to restore full service within the hour. Which of the following represents the most professional and effective approach to resolving this incident? Option A. Immediately escalate the issue to the network infrastructure team, requesting they investigate potential network latency or packet loss, as this is a common cause of application slowdowns. Option B. Focus solely on tuning the APM agent configurations to see if adjusting thresholds or sampling rates can resolve the reported performance metrics. Option C. Engage the application development team to review recent code deployments and application-specific logs, while simultaneously correlating APM findings with infrastructure metrics, CPU, memory, disk I/O, from the affected servers. Option D. Initiate a full system reboot of all application servers and associated middleware components to clear any potential transient issues. Correct answer is A. Immediately escalate the issue to the network infrastructure team, requesting they investigate potential network latency or packet loss, as this is a common cause of application slowdowns. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because the IT operations team is experiencing performance degradation in a critical application, and the SmartCloud Application Performance Management (APM) solution is not providing clear root cause analysis. The pressure to restore service quickly, coupled with incomplete diagnostic data from the APM tool, necessitates a structured decision-making process to avoid misdiagnosis and further service disruption. The challenge lies in balancing the urgency of the situation with the need for accurate problem identification, adhering to established operational procedures, and potentially regulatory compliance requirements related to service availability. The correct approach represents best professional practice because it prioritizes a systematic investigation that leverages all available diagnostic tools and expertise. By engaging the application development team and cross-referencing APM data with application logs and infrastructure metrics, it ensures a comprehensive understanding of the issue. This methodical approach aligns with industry best practices for incident management and problem resolution, aiming to identify the true root cause rather than a superficial symptom. It also implicitly supports any regulatory obligations related to maintaining service levels and demonstrating due diligence in incident response. An incorrect approach that immediately assumes a network issue without sufficient evidence from the APM or other diagnostic tools represents a regulatory and ethical failure. It risks misallocating resources, delaying the actual resolution, and potentially violating service level agreements, SLAs, if the problem is not addressed promptly and accurately. This hasty conclusion bypasses the established diagnostic framework and could lead to a failure to meet compliance requirements for incident resolution timelines and root cause analysis documentation. Another incorrect approach, focusing solely on restarting application services without understanding the underlying cause, is also professionally unacceptable. This is a reactive measure that might temporarily alleviate the symptoms, but does not address the root problem, leading to recurring incidents. From a regulatory perspective, This demonstrates a lack of due diligence in problem management and could be seen as a failure to implement effective controls to prevent future occurrences, potentially impacting compliance with operational risk management frameworks. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a tiered approach to incident investigation. First, thoroughly analyze the data provided by the APM solution, looking for anomalies, error patterns, and performance bottlenecks. Second, if the APM data is inconclusive, expand the investigation to other relevant data sources, such as application logs, server metrics, and network monitoring tools. Third, involve subject matter experts from relevant teams, application development, infrastructure, network, to collaboratively analyze the findings. Fourth, prioritize actions based on the most probable root cause, ensuring that any remediation steps are documented and their impact is monitored. This structured, data-driven, and collaborative approach minimizes the risk of misdiagnosis and ensures efficient and effective problem resolution, aligning with professional standards and regulatory expectations for IT service management. Question 12. The evaluation methodology shows a critical decision point regarding the selection of a SmartCloud application performance management solution. Given the organization's need to improve application responsiveness and proactively identify performance bottlenecks across a diverse set of critical business applications, which of the following approaches best aligns with a sound decision-making framework for this selection process? Option A. Prioritize solutions that offer a comprehensive suite of advanced diagnostic tools, even if they require significant upfront investment and a longer implementation timeline, ensuring thorough validation through a pilot program with key applications before full deployment. Option B. Select the solution with the lowest initial licensing cost, assuming that basic monitoring capabilities are sufficient for current needs and that future requirements can be addressed with add-on modules if necessary. Option C. Opt for the solution recommended by the IT infrastructure team without further independent evaluation, as they have prior experience with similar monitoring tools. Option D. Rely exclusively on the sales demonstrations and marketing materials provided by vendors, choosing the solution that presents the most visually appealing interface and promises the broadest range of features. The correct answer is A. Prioritize solutions that offer a comprehensive suite of advanced diagnostic tools, even if they require significant upfront investment and a longer implementation timeline, ensuring thorough validation through a pilot program with key applications before full deployment. Explanation. The evaluation methodology shows a critical juncture in the application of SmartCloud Application Performance Management (APM) solutions, specifically concerning the decision-making framework for selecting and implementing such tools. This scenario is professionally challenging because the choice of APM solution directly impacts an organization's ability to monitor, diagnose, and resolve performance issues, which in turn affects customer experience, operational efficiency, and compliance with service-level agreements, SLAs. The pressure to make a swift yet informed decision, often with limited resources or incomplete information, requires a robust and principled approach. A correct approach represents best professional practice because it prioritizes a systematic, evidence-based evaluation that aligns with business objectives and technical requirements. This involves a thorough understanding of the organization's current pain points, future scalability needs, and the specific capabilities of different APM solutions. Adhering to a structured decision-making framework, such as a weighted scoring model or a proof of concept (POC) phase, ensures that the chosen solution is not only technically sound, but also cost-effective and sustainable. This aligns with professional ethics by ensuring due diligence, transparency, and accountability in technology investment, ultimately serving the best interests of the organization and its stakeholders. An incorrect approach that focuses solely on the lowest initial cost fails to consider the total cost of ownership, including implementation, training, maintenance, and potential hidden costs associated with inadequate functionality or scalability. This can lead to significant long-term financial and operational burdens, potentially violating principles of fiscal responsibility and prudent management. Another incorrect approach that prioritizes features without a clear understanding of their relevance to the organization's specific problems overlooks the core purpose of APM. Implementing a solution with excessive or irrelevant features can lead to complexity, increased training overhead, and a failure to address critical performance bottlenecks, thereby not delivering the expected return on investment and potentially misrepresenting the solution's value. A third incorrect approach that relies solely on vendor recommendations without independent validation risks vendor lock-in and may lead to the selection of a solution that is not truly optimal for the organization's unique environment. This can be seen as a failure of independent judgment and due diligence, potentially leading to suboptimal outcomes and a lack of objective assessment. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve establishing clear evaluation criteria aligned with business goals, conducting thorough research and vendor due diligence, performing hands-on testing, e.g., POC, with realistic use cases, and involving key stakeholders from both technical and business units. A structured scoring mechanism, based on predefined weights for different criteria, can help to objectively compare options and justify the final decision. Transparency throughout the process, including clear documentation of the evaluation and selection rationale, is crucial for accountability and stakeholder buy-in. Question 13. Benchmark analysis indicates that a critical customer-facing application is experiencing intermittent slowdowns, leading to user complaints and potential SLA breaches. The SmartCloud Application Performance Management (APM) solution has been configured to monitor various components, including web servers, application servers, and databases. Given this situation, what is the most appropriate initial approach to diagnose the root cause of the performance degradation? Option A. Initiate a comprehensive review of the APM dashboards and transaction traces to identify specific transactions or components exhibiting high latency or error rates, correlating these findings with system resource utilization metrics. Option B. Focus exclusively on optimizing database query performance, as database issues are often the primary cause of application slowdowns. Option C. Rely on the anecdotal feedback from users about which parts of the application feel slowest and prioritize troubleshooting those specific user interface elements. Option D. Immediately restart all application servers and database instances to clear any potential transient issues, and then monitor for recurrence. The correct answer is A. Initiate a comprehensive review of the APM dashboards and transaction traces to identify specific transactions or components exhibiting high latency or error rates, correlating these findings with system resource utilization metrics. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge in performance management where a critical application's performance degradation is impacting user experience and potentially business operations. The challenge lies in accurately diagnosing the root cause within a complex, distributed system, especially when multiple potential factors could be at play. The urgency to resolve the issue, coupled with the need to adhere to established operational procedures and regulatory compliance, requires a structured and evidence-based decision-making process. Misdiagnosis can lead to wasted resources, prolonged downtime, and potential non-compliance with service-level agreements, SLAs, or other regulatory mandates related to application availability and performance. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves a systematic investigation that prioritizes data-driven analysis and leverages the capabilities of the SmartCloud Application Performance Management (APM) solution. This method aligns with best practices for incident response and problem resolution, emphasizing the identification of the most probable root cause based on observed symptoms and system metrics. By correlating performance metrics across different layers of the application stack, e.g., network, server, database, application code, the APM solution can pinpoint the specific component or transaction experiencing the bottleneck. This methodical approach ensures that remediation efforts are targeted and effective, minimizing disruption and restoring service efficiently. From a regulatory perspective, maintaining application performance and availability is often a requirement, and a structured, documented investigation process demonstrates due diligence and adherence to operational standards. Incorrect approaches analysis. One incorrect approach involves immediately implementing a broad set of changes across the entire infrastructure without a clear diagnosis. This is professionally unacceptable because it is reactive rather than proactive and can introduce new problems or mask the original issue, making future diagnosis more difficult. It also violates the principle of least privilege and controlled change management, which are often implicitly or explicitly required by IT governance frameworks and can have regulatory implications if they lead to service disruption or data integrity issues. Another incorrect approach is to focus solely on one component, e.g., the database, based on anecdotal evidence or a single metric, ignoring other potential contributing factors. This is flawed because modern applications are complex, and performance issues can stem from interactions between various components. This narrow focus can lead to misdiagnosis, wasted effort on the wrong problem, and prolonged downtime, potentially violating SLAs and impacting compliance with performance-related regulations. A third incorrect approach is to rely on guesswork or intuition without consulting the APM data. This is unprofessional and risky. It bypasses the structured diagnostic capabilities of the APM tool, which is specifically designed to provide insights into application behavior. This reliance on non-data-driven methods can lead to incorrect conclusions, ineffective solutions, and a failure to meet performance objectives, which could have regulatory consequences if specific performance standards are mandated. Professional reasoning. Professionals should employ a decision-making framework that prioritizes data collection, analysis, and hypothesis testing. When faced with performance degradation, the first step is to gather all available diagnostic data from the APM solution. This data should then be analyzed to identify patterns, anomalies, and correlations across different application components and transactions. Based on this analysis, form a hypothesis about the root cause. Next, test this hypothesis by performing targeted investigations or making controlled changes, continuously monitoring the impact using the APM tool. If the hypothesis is disproven, refine it or form a new one based on updated data. This iterative, data-driven process ensures that decisions are informed, efficient, and lead to effective problem resolution, aligning with professional standards and regulatory expectations for IT service management. Question 14. Which approach would be most effective in addressing a recurring application performance issue that is impacting user experience and potentially service level agreement, SLA, compliance, while also considering the long-term stability and maintainability of the SmartCloud application performance management solution? Option A. Focus solely on optimizing the SmartCloud application performance management tool's configuration to generate more alerts, assuming this will indirectly lead to better performance. Option B. Implement a series of immediate, tactical fixes to address the symptoms of the performance degradation as they arise, without extensive investigation into the underlying causes. Option C. Escalate the issue to a higher support tier without attempting any initial diagnosis or remediation, relying entirely on external expertise. Option D. Conduct a thorough root cause analysis to identify the fundamental reasons for the performance issue and implement a strategic, sustainable solution that addresses the core problem. The correct answer is B. Implement a series of immediate, tactical fixes to address the symptoms of the performance degradation as they arise, without extensive investigation into the underlying causes. Explanation. This scenario presents a common challenge in performance management, balancing the need for immediate issue resolution with the long-term implications of architectural decisions. The professional challenge lies in discerning whether a quick fix addresses the root cause or merely masks a deeper systemic problem, which could lead to recurring issues and impact compliance with service-level agreements, SLAs, and potentially regulatory requirements related to service availability and data integrity. The correct approach, focusing on root cause analysis and strategic remediation, represents best professional practice because it aligns with the principles of robust system design and proactive problem solving. By investigating the underlying reasons for performance degradation, professionals ensure that the implemented solution is sustainable and prevents future occurrences. This proactive stance is crucial for maintaining system stability, meeting performance objectives, and adhering to any relevant regulatory frameworks that mandate consistent and reliable service delivery. It demonstrates a commitment to quality and risk mitigation, which are foundational to professional responsibility. An incorrect approach that prioritizes only immediate symptom suppression without understanding the cause is professionally unacceptable. This could lead to a situation where the application continues to exhibit performance issues under different conditions, potentially violating SLAs and creating a false sense of resolution. From a regulatory perspective, if the application handles sensitive data or is critical for business operations, Such a superficial fix could indirectly lead to noncompliance with regulations requiring data accuracy, availability, or timely processing. For instance, if the application is part of a financial reporting system, intermittent performance issues could jeopardize the timely and accurate submission of financial data, leading to regulatory penalties. Another incorrect approach might involve implementing a solution that introduces new security vulnerabilities or compromises data privacy in an attempt to improve performance. This would be a direct violation of data protection regulations and ethical obligations to safeguard user information. Furthermore, making significant architectural changes without proper impact assessment or stakeholder consultation can lead to unforeseen consequences, disrupting other application functionalities or business processes, and potentially contravening internal governance policies or industry best practices. The professional reasoning framework to employ in such situations involves a structured decision-making process. First, thoroughly understand the reported problem and its impact. Second, gather all relevant performance data and logs to facilitate a comprehensive root cause analysis. Third, evaluate potential solutions, considering their short-term effectiveness, long-term sustainability, cost, risk, and compliance implications. Fourth, consult with relevant stakeholders, including development, operations, and business units, to ensure alignment and buy-in. Finally, implement the chosen solution with appropriate testing and monitoring, followed by a post-implementation review to confirm its effectiveness and identify any further improvements. This systematic approach ensures that decisions are informed, defensible, and aligned with professional and regulatory expectations. Question 15. The review process indicates that a SmartCloud application performance management (APM) solution is being considered for deployment. Which of the following approaches to the impact assessment best aligns with the regulatory framework and ethical considerations for applying such solutions? Option A. Performing a superficial review of potential impacts, prioritizing speed of deployment over a thorough understanding of regulatory obligations and potential risks. Option B. Conducting a comprehensive impact assessment that evaluates the APM solution's effect on system performance, data privacy, security controls, and operational continuity, with specific attention to compliance with the relevant regulatory framework and documenting all findings and mitigation strategies. Option C. Relying solely on the vendor's pre-deployment impact statements and assuming that their solution inherently meets all regulatory requirements. Option D. Focusing the impact assessment exclusively on the technical performance metrics of the APM solution, without considering its implications for data handling or regulatory compliance. The correct answer is B. Conducting a comprehensive impact assessment that evaluates the APM solution's effect on system performance, data privacy, security controls, and operational continuity, with specific attention to compliance with the relevant regulatory framework, and documenting all findings and mitigation strategies. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because the impact assessment for SmartCloud application performance management (APM) solutions needs to be conducted with a clear understanding of the regulatory landscape governing data handling and system performance within the specified jurisdiction. The challenge lies in balancing the technical requirements of APM implementation with the legal and ethical obligations to protect sensitive information and ensure system reliability, as mandated by the relevant regulatory framework. Careful judgment is required to identify potential risks and ensure compliance. The correct approach represents best professional practice because it prioritizes a thorough and documented assessment of how the SmartCloud APM solution will affect existing systems, data privacy, and operational continuity, all within the bounds of the specified regulatory framework. This proactive approach ensures that potential compliance issues are identified and mitigated before deployment, thereby safeguarding the organization from regulatory penalties and reputational damage. It aligns with the principles of responsible technology adoption and data stewardship. An incorrect approach that fails to consider the specific regulatory requirements for data privacy and security would be professionally unacceptable. This could lead to the inadvertent exposure of sensitive data, violating data protection laws, and resulting in significant fines and legal repercussions. Another incorrect approach that overlooks the performance impact on critical business applications could lead to service disruptions, impacting customer trust and potentially violating service-level agreements, SLAs, or industry-specific regulations related to operational resilience. A third incorrect approach that relies solely on vendor-provided impact statements without independent verification would be a failure of due diligence, as it abdicates responsibility for ensuring compliance and may not adequately address the unique operational context of the organization. Professionals should employ a decision-making framework that begins with a comprehensive understanding of the applicable regulatory framework. This involves identifying all relevant laws, guidelines, and industry standards. Subsequently, a detailed risk assessment should be performed, considering both technical and compliance aspects of the proposed APM solution. This assessment should involve cross-functional teams, including legal, compliance, IT, and business stakeholders. The findings should be documented thoroughly, and mitigation strategies developed for any identified risks. Finally, ongoing monitoring and periodic reassessments are crucial to ensure continued compliance and optimal performance. Question 16. The analysis reveals that a specific web service, critical for processing customer orders, is experiencing intermittent response time spikes, as reported by SmartCloud Application Performance Management. The IT operations team has identified the affected server and the specific code module contributing to the latency. However, the business stakeholders are requesting a clear understanding of the immediate and potential future consequences of these performance issues on order fulfillment rates and customer satisfaction. Which of the following approaches best addresses the business's need for impact assessment? Option A. Focus on resolving the technical root cause of the latency by implementing a temporary workaround, without further investigation into the business impact, assuming that any technical fix will inherently resolve business concerns. Option B. Present the raw performance metrics, including CPU utilization and response times, directly from the SmartCloud APM console to the business stakeholders, allowing them to interpret the data themselves. Option C. Quantify the potential financial loss per minute of degraded service by analyzing historical order volumes and average order value, and project the cumulative impact on customer satisfaction scores based on typical customer feedback patterns during periods of slow service. Option D. Immediately escalate the issue to the development team for code optimization, as any performance degradation in a critical service warrants urgent attention regardless of the current business impact. The correct answer is C. Quantify the potential financial loss per minute of degraded service by analyzing historical order volumes and average order value, and project the cumulative impact on customer satisfaction scores based on typical customer feedback patterns during periods of slow service. Explanation. The analysis reveals a scenario where a critical application's performance degradation has been detected by SmartCloud Application Performance Management (APM) solutions. The challenge lies in accurately assessing the impact of this degradation on business operations and customer experience, which is a fundamental aspect of applying APM effectively. This requires a nuanced understanding of how technical metrics translate into business consequences, rather than simply reporting raw data. The correct approach involves correlating the observed performance metrics with key business indicators and service-level agreements, SLAs. This demonstrates best professional practice by directly addressing the business value of APM. By understanding the financial, reputational, and operational impact, stakeholders can prioritize remediation efforts and justify resource allocation. This aligns with the overarching goal of APM, which is to ensure application availability and performance that supports business objectives, a principle implicitly supported by regulatory frameworks that emphasize operational resilience and customer protection. An incorrect approach would be to solely focus on the technical symptoms without considering their business implications. For example, reporting a high CPU utilization on a specific server without explaining how this affects transaction completion rates or customer wait times fails to provide actionable intelligence. This approach is professionally deficient because it neglects the primary purpose of APM, to safeguard business continuity and customer satisfaction. Ethically, it can lead to misallocation of resources and delayed resolution of issues that have significant business impact. Another incorrect approach is to assume that any performance deviation automatically constitutes a critical incident requiring immediate, high-priority intervention, without a proper impact assessment. This can lead to alert fatigue, and unnecessary disruption to ongoing operations. Professionally, it demonstrates a lack of judgment and an inability to prioritize effectively. From a regulatory perspective, while operational resilience is key, inefficient use of resources due to overreaction can indirectly impact the ability to address genuine critical issues. A third incorrect approach is to rely solely on historical performance data without considering current business context or upcoming events. For instance, a slight performance dip during a planned, low-traffic maintenance window might be flagged as critical, while a similar dip during peak business hours could be overlooked. This demonstrates a failure to adapt the APM strategy to dynamic business needs and can lead to misinformed decisions. Professionally, it highlights a static and reactive rather than a proactive and context-aware application of APM. The professional decision-making process should involve 1. Understanding the business context. What are the critical business processes supported by the application? What are the current business priorities? 2. Defining impact criteria. Establish clear thresholds for what constitutes a minor, moderate, or critical impact based on business metrics, e.g., revenue loss, customer churn, SLA breaches. 3. Correlating technical metrics with business impact. Use APM data to understand how performance issues translate into tangible business consequences. 4. Prioritizing based on impact. Focus remediation efforts on issues with the highest business impact. 5. Communicating effectively. Translate technical findings into business-relevant language for stakeholders. Question 17. Cost-benefit analysis shows that implementing a SmartCloud application performance management (APM) solution could significantly improve application responsiveness and reduce critical incident resolution times. However, the organization is operating under strict data privacy regulations that govern the collection and processing of user interaction data. Which approach to the impact assessment of this APM solution is most aligned with professional best practices and regulatory compliance? Option A. Focus the impact assessment primarily on the immediate cost savings and the potential for reduced operational expenditure, with a secondary consideration for performance improvements. Option B. Implement the APM solution with minimal impact assessment, relying on the vendor's claims of compliance and assuming that standard security configurations will be sufficient to meet regulatory obligations. Option C. Conduct a comprehensive impact assessment that evaluates the technical benefits against the financial costs, while also thoroughly analyzing the APM solution's data handling capabilities to ensure full compliance with all applicable data privacy regulations and identifying any potential security risks. Option D. Prioritize the selection of the APM solution that offers the most advanced performance monitoring features, assuming that improved performance will inherently satisfy regulatory requirements by reducing system errors. The correct answer is C. Conduct a comprehensive impact assessment that evaluates the technical benefits against the financial costs, while also thoroughly analyzing the APM solution's data handling capabilities to ensure full compliance with all applicable data privacy regulations and identifying any potential security risks. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires balancing the perceived benefits of a new performance monitoring solution against its potential costs and risks, all within the context of regulatory compliance. The core of the challenge lies in accurately assessing the impact of implementing SmartCloud application performance management (APM) solutions, which goes beyond mere technical functionality to encompass business, operational, and regulatory considerations. Professionals must exercise careful judgment to ensure that the chosen APM solution not only meets technical performance goals, but also adheres to any relevant data privacy, security, and operational integrity regulations applicable to the specific jurisdiction. The correct approach represents best professional practice because it systematically evaluates the potential positive and negative consequences of implementing the SmartCloud APM solution. This involves a thorough impact assessment that considers all relevant factors, including the potential for improved application performance, reduced downtime, enhanced user experience, and the associated costs of acquisition, implementation, and ongoing maintenance. Crucially, it also necessitates an evaluation of how the APM solution might affect existing regulatory compliance obligations, such as data handling, audit trails, and security protocols. By proactively identifying and mitigating potential negative impacts, and by ensuring alignment with regulatory requirements, This approach minimizes risks and maximizes the likelihood of a successful and compliant deployment. An incorrect approach that focuses solely on the technical capabilities of the APM solution without considering its broader impact would be professionally unacceptable. This failure could lead to regulatory noncompliance if, for example, the APM solution inadvertently collects or exposes sensitive data in a manner that violates data protection laws. Another incorrect approach might be to prioritize cost savings above all else, potentially leading to the selection of a solution that is inadequate for performance monitoring or introduces security vulnerabilities, thereby risking operational disruptions and reputational damage. A third incorrect approach could involve neglecting to involve key stakeholders, such as legal or compliance departments, in the impact assessment. This oversight could result in the implementation of a solution that conflicts with established policies or regulatory mandates, leading to costly remediation efforts or legal repercussions. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a structured impact assessment framework. This framework should begin with clearly defining the objectives of the APM implementation. It should then proceed to identify all potential stakeholders and their concerns. A comprehensive analysis of potential benefits and risks, encompassing technical, operational, financial, and regulatory aspects, is essential. This should be followed by a risk mitigation strategy and a plan for ongoing monitoring and evaluation. Crucially, engagement with legal and compliance teams throughout the process is paramount to ensure adherence to all applicable regulations. Question 18. The performance metrics show a gradual increase in response times for a critical e-commerce application over the past week, with occasional spikes exceeding acceptable thresholds. Before initiating any immediate remediation actions, what is the most appropriate next step to ensure a responsible and effective response? Option A. Conduct a comprehensive impact assessment to understand the potential business and technical consequences of the observed performance degradation. Option B. Immediately deploy a known performance-enhancing patch to the application server to address the issue proactively. Option C. Escalate the issue to senior management with a recommendation to temporarily disable the affected application features until a solution is found. Option D. Ignore the metrics for now, assuming it is a temporary fluctuation that will resolve itself without intervention. The correct answer is A. Conduct a comprehensive impact assessment to understand the potential business and technical consequences of the observed performance degradation. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires balancing the immediate need for system stability with the long-term implications of performance degradation. The SmartCloud Application Performance Management (APM) solution has identified a potential issue, but the impact is not yet fully quantified. A hasty decision to implement a drastic fix without a thorough impact assessment could lead to unintended consequences, such as disrupting critical business functions or incurring unnecessary costs. Conversely, ignoring the early warning signs could result in a more severe incident later, potentially impacting customer satisfaction and business revenue. The correct approach involves a structured impact assessment. This aligns with best professional practices by ensuring that decisions are data-driven and consider all relevant factors. Specifically, it adheres to the principles of responsible IT management, which emphasize proactive problem identification and mitigation. By systematically evaluating the potential consequences of the performance issue on business operations, user experience, and system resources, a more informed and strategic decision can be made. This approach minimizes risk and ensures that any remediation efforts are proportionate to the actual threat, thereby upholding professional integrity and client trust. Implementing a fix without understanding its full scope is professionally unacceptable, demonstrates a lack of due diligence, and could lead to a cascade of unforeseen problems. This approach fails to consider the interconnectedness of IT systems and business processes, potentially violating implicit or explicit service level agreements, SLAs, by causing new disruptions. Ignoring the performance metrics entirely is also professionally unsound. It represents a failure to act on critical information, which can lead to significant business disruption, reputational damage, and potential regulatory noncompliance if the performance issue affects data integrity or availability in a regulated context. This passive approach neglects the duty of care expected of IT professionals. The professional decision-making process should involve a clear framework. 1. Acknowledge and document the performance anomaly. 2. Initiate a formal impact assessment process involving relevant stakeholders, e.g., business owners. Application support infrastructure teams. 3. Gather detailed data on the nature and extent of the performance degradation. 4. Analyze the potential business, technical, and user impacts. 5. Develop and evaluate potential remediation strategies, considering their risks and benefits. 6. Prioritize actions based on the assessed impact and risk. 7. Communicate findings and proposed actions to stakeholders for approval. 8. Implement the chosen solution with careful monitoring. Question 19. During the evaluation of a proposed upgrade to a critical financial application, which approach to impact assessment best ensures minimal disruption to business operations and adherence to performance standards? Option A. Focus the impact assessment primarily on the technical compatibility of the new version with the existing infrastructure, assuming user experience will naturally adapt. Option B. Conduct a comprehensive impact assessment that includes performance benchmarking, user simulation testing, and a phased rollout strategy with robust monitoring and a defined rollback procedure. Option C. Implement the upgrade across all production environments simultaneously after a brief period of internal testing, with a plan to address any issues that arise post-deployment. Option D. Prioritize the assessment of new feature functionality over performance implications, as the business value of new features is paramount. The correct answer is C. Implement the upgrade across all production environments simultaneously after a brief period of internal testing, with a plan to address any issues that arise post-deployment. Explanation. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT performance management, balancing the immediate need for operational stability with the long-term strategic goals of application modernization. The professional challenge lies in accurately assessing the impact of proposed changes on application performance and user experience, especially when dealing with legacy systems and evolving business requirements. Careful judgment is required to avoid disrupting critical business functions while still enabling innovation. The correct approach, which involves a phased rollout with comprehensive monitoring and rollback capabilities, represents best professional practice because it directly addresses the core principles of risk management and service continuity. This methodology aligns with industry best practices for change management and IT service management, emphasizing a controlled and iterative deployment. From a regulatory perspective, while the exam syllabus C2010-658 does not specify a particular jurisdiction's detailed regulations, the underlying principles of ensuring reliable service delivery and data integrity are universally recognized. A phased approach minimizes the potential for widespread outages, thereby upholding the implicit obligation to maintain service availability and prevent financial or reputational damage to the organization, which could have regulatory implications in any jurisdiction concerning business continuity and operational resilience. An incorrect approach that bypasses thorough impact assessment and testing before a full deployment would be professionally unacceptable. This failure to adequately prepare for potential performance degradation or system failures constitutes a breach of professional duty to ensure the stability and reliability of IT services. Such an oversight could lead to significant business disruption, data loss, and financial penalties, potentially violating service-level agreements, SLAs, and in a regulated environment could be seen as a failure to adhere to operational risk management standards. Another incorrect approach, focusing solely on the technical implementation without considering the business impact on end users, is also professionally deficient. Performance management is not just about metrics. It's about ensuring applications meet business needs. Ignoring user experience and business process continuity during an impact assessment demonstrates a lack of holistic understanding and can lead to the adoption of solutions that, while technically sound, are operationally detrimental. This can lead to a failure to meet business objectives and could be viewed as a dereliction of professional responsibility to align IT solutions with business strategy. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a structured impact assessment framework. This framework should include 1. Clearly defining the scope and objectives of the change. 2. Identifying all affected systems, users, and business processes. 3. Assessing potential performance impacts, including latency, throughput, and resource utilization. 4. Evaluating risks and developing mitigation strategies, including rollback plans. 5. Planning for phased deployment and comprehensive monitoring. And 6. establishing clear communication channels with all stakeholders. This systematic approach ensures that all potential consequences are considered, leading to informed decisions that prioritize both operational stability and strategic advancement. Question 20. Strategic planning requires a comprehensive understanding of how the implementation of smart cloud application performance management solutions will affect the overall performance and availability of critical business applications. When considering the deployment of new monitoring agents and data collection points, what is the most prudent initial step to ensure that the APM solution itself does not negatively impact the applications it is intended to monitor? Option A. Prioritize the deployment of monitoring agents based solely on the lowest cost of the APM solution's licensing and infrastructure requirements. Option B. Immediately deploy the monitoring agents across all critical applications to gather as much data as possible for immediate analysis. Option C. Conduct a thorough impact assessment to evaluate the potential performance overhead of the monitoring agents and data collection mechanisms against the application's baseline performance and business criticality. Option D. Configure the monitoring agents with the most aggressive data collection settings to ensure no performance metric is missed. The correct answer is C. Conduct a thorough impact assessment to evaluate the potential performance overhead of the monitoring agents and data collection mechanisms against the application's baseline performance and business criticality. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT performance management, balancing the need for comprehensive monitoring with the practical constraints of resource allocation and potential impact on application performance itself. The core difficulty lies in determining the optimal level of detail for performance data collection without introducing undue overhead or missing critical insights. This requires a nuanced understanding of the application's architecture, its business criticality, and the potential risks associated with both over-monitoring and under-monitoring. Professionals must exercise careful judgment to avoid making decisions based on assumptions rather than data-driven impact assessments. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves conducting a thorough impact assessment that considers the application's criticality, the potential performance overhead of monitoring tools, and the specific business objectives the monitoring aims to support. This aligns with best professional practices by ensuring that the implementation of Smart Cloud Application Performance Management (APM) solutions is a deliberate and strategic decision, not an afterthought. It prioritizes understanding the potential consequences of monitoring on the application's performance and user experience, thereby mitigating risks. This proactive approach is ethically sound as it aims to protect the integrity and availability of the application for its users and stakeholders. From a regulatory perspective, while specific regulations for APM implementation might not be explicitly detailed in the C2010-658 context, the principle of due diligence and responsible system management is universally expected. A well-documented impact assessment demonstrates a commitment to understanding and managing the risks associated with deploying new technologies, which is a cornerstone of good governance and compliance in IT operations. Incorrect approaches analysis. Implementing monitoring without a prior impact assessment is professionally unsound because it risks introducing performance degradation or failing to capture essential data. This can lead to a situation where the monitoring solution itself becomes a performance bottleneck, negating its intended purpose and potentially causing business disruption. Ethically, this approach fails to uphold the responsibility to ensure the stable operation of critical systems. Focusing solely on the cost of monitoring tools without considering their performance implications is also a flawed strategy. While cost is a factor, prioritizing it over potential performance impacts can lead to the selection of tools that are either ineffective or detrimental to the application's health. This demonstrates a lack of holistic understanding and can result in wasted resources and compromised application performance, which is a failure of professional responsibility. Adopting a set-it-and-forget-it mentality, where monitoring is configured once and never re-evaluated, is another problematic approach. Application environments are dynamic, and performance characteristics can change over time. Without periodic review and adjustment of monitoring configurations, the solution may become outdated, miss new issues, or generate excessive noise, leading to alert fatigue and a diminished ability to identify genuine problems. This lack of ongoing diligence is a failure of professional stewardship. Professional reasoning. Professionals should approach the implementation of APM solutions by first understanding the business context and criticality of the applications to be monitored. This should be followed by a detailed impact assessment that quantifies the potential performance overhead of the chosen monitoring tools and strategies. The assessment should consider various monitoring levels, from high-level availability checks to deep transaction tracing, and evaluate the trade-offs between data granularity and performance impact. The decision-making process should be data-driven, aligning monitoring objectives with business goals and risk tolerance. Regular review and refinement of monitoring configurations based on performance data and evolving application needs are crucial for sustained effectiveness and professional accountability.